Alright, this is the Resurrected Hobbyist with the next part in my long play series on pairs. Last time I had started on James's route and had come to the conclusion that he's an asshole. Yeah. Sorry, James just strikes me as one of those people that's very manipulative, very conniving. If he has a problem with you, he's not going to tell you he has a problem. He's going to maneuver things and manipulate emotions so that you give up and go away. And I just really dislike people like that. But not here for a sociology lesson. Here to do feedback on the game. So anyway. So she's Nan, a warrior bred in the blood of fire of stars. And I have a distinct feeling that she'd take my worries and toss them straight into the sun. Probably literally. Worrying isn't useful either, but I'd turn the TV off. Honestly, I shouldn't have turned it on in the first place. Yeah, you shouldn't be watching TV while you're at work. Having it on for background ambience while customers are there, that's one thing. But you're not a customer. My phone buzzes. It's May. James, did you see the emergency broadcast? Oh boy. My stomach twists as I look at the message in disbelief. May? Oh no, you don't. If I find out you skipped school to go hero trailing, I'm going to grind you into little pieces and then ground those little pieces. They'll have no privileges for a week. That's right, I forgot. He's his sister's guardian. Sorry about that. Had a recording glitch and had to take 2 takes and splice them together. So anyway, as I was saying, James responding to the message from May. Alright, it doesn't take long to get a reply. Morbid much? But fine, I get it, jeez. Oh, speaking of the special broadcast, just to let you know, I'm going to be really busy for the next couple of hours, so only text me if it's an emergency, okay? Why does this sound like a setup for something? If Kitten really is on her way here, then we'll need privacy. The last thing I need is for May to find out about her. Okay, I checked the clock. It's 2 in the afternoon. Even though we don't usually get customers around this time anyway, I flipped the sign so it reads closed. Yeah, the intersection of 12th and Pearl isn't that far away, and I'm pretty sure that she'll arrive any minute. Ah yes, we're back to that outfit. James! She bursts through the door like a whirlwind, and as always, my name is the first thing through her lips. Anyway, I stiffen immediately before turning, then let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Kitten. So she is okay. I mean, yeah. Nans are pretty resilient, but I glance at Noya. She looks as strong as ever, her expression as satisfied as a cat who'd gotten into the cream. I would have said cat that ate the canary personally, but yeah, different strokes. I feel a little silly and feel my face warming. Just a little. It was stupid of me to worry over something like that. I have a distinct feeling Noya would laugh in my face if she knew. I lock us in the shop, then glance through the blinds. It's the same routine every time she comes to visit me. Starting, of course, with our longest-standing tradition, watching her almost get herself killed in the news when she goes out to get me a gift, insisting that it's a superior Nayan tradition. Okay. Noya, I've told you before. I know, gifts aren't necessary. And there she goes with the pouting eyes. She brushes me off. I narrowly resist following through on the urge to rip out my hair. I mean, I get it. It's tradition. She wants to show her affection as only a Nayan can. But I want her to at least try not getting herself killed. Maybe even learn to think things through for once in her life? Yeah, good luck with that. I really kind of doubt Nayans are any better at that than humans. You can't even imagine how stupid it is to risk your life for flowers I could buy for myself. Yeah, honestly, on that one, I gotta agree more with Kitten. And like, if I'm going to meet someone, the fact that I had to risk my life to get them a present, I gotta be honest, that's a selling point. I almost say it, but when I see the way she pouts at me, I know there's no point. You're kind of new to the whole dating thing, aren't you, James? Besides, one of us has to be the adult here. We both fall silent as I wipe down the cappuccino machine. When I glance over my shoulders at Kitten, she's staring at the clock on her wall, her eyes trailing the pendulum. The way her eyes swing back and forth reminds me of a cat, waiting for a bird to come out of the cuckoo clock. How many in-jokes are there in that line? Watching them swirl back and forth is hypnotic. I turn away, blinking. Why am I looking so closely anyway? Outside of it's your girlfriend that can kill you? I go back to concentrating on cleaning the machine. Kitten's voice comes out from behind me. James, your little communicator device is bright. I think someone is trying to contact you. Communicator? I try my best not to laugh. I've told her before that it's called a smartphone, but she insists that it's her translator making the words, not her. It's a part of that thing she wears on her wrist, some kind of robot assistant thing. An Alexa bracelet! What does she call it? I pick up my phone and check the caller ID. May? My heart starts to race. I told her not to message me unless it was an emergency, and I try to keep my voice calm. Please say there's no emergency. It's May. I'll be right back. I have to take this. I rush to the cafe's back room to answer it immediately. Hello? Are you alright? James? What? I'm fine, but this is urgent. Are you by yourself in the shop, or do you have a bunch of customers? I glance at the dining area. Neither. Why are you asking? Okay, people don't ask that question for grins and giggles, James. If you're free, I need you to come to school right now. Oh, Lord. I take a moment to pull my phone away from my face and stare at it in disbelief. May, did you even read my text? You sent a text? Yes, a text that said I am very busy and not to contact me unless it's an emergency. But James, this is an emergency. Fight, suspension, fire. One of those three. Listen, so after school, Team E is going outside training exercises. You know who is going to be there. Okay, hero trailing. I was wrong. Team E. I try to remember which ones they are. That's the hero training group you like, right? The one with that guy in it? Protector? I can hear unintelligible gushing in the background. Of course, me, Marcus, and Trina want to go from the front room. I can hear what sounds like the legs of a chair scraping loudly against the floor. Kitten's probably leaning back in her chair. She has a chair? What was that? Is a customer there? No, that was me. May lets out a sound. I scramble for an excuse. If May knew about Noya, it would be dangerous. Okay. Kitten isn't a threat to May, but if May told the wrong person, then she could certainly be one to kill. The risk is too great, especially considering that May is going through a phase right now. She's just a little too obsessed with the training hero teams to be trusted with information about an enemy Nan right here in Q. I smiled to myself, thinking of her hero's phase. Most everybody went through one. That period of life where posters of powered humans and the occasional Nan were plastered on every wall, and May is no exception. Even I wasn't. Distracted by her friends in the background, May goes on. Whatever, anyway, can we get a ride to the training ground? You have legs in public transit, just take the bus. Fine. I'll see you no later than 10 tonight. If you need a ride then, I'll come get you. But if you want to eat dinner with me, then you've got to be back in by 8. Thanks, bro. I'll text you later if I'll be back for dinner. She hangs up, no doubt triumphantly, content with having procured at least one ride. When I rejoin Kitten in the front room, she's leaning back in her chair, fiddling with that little bracelet she always wears. She sits up immediately when I return. Was it urgent? No, not really. A dark expression crosses her face, then quickly disappears. It's enough to make me a little weary. Well, your girlfriend has a wary look on her face. Yeah, that should make you concerned. But anyway, she beckons me to sit in the chair in front of her. James, we need to talk. James, I need you to close your eyes. I can only imagine what plan she's concocted now. I swallow, wondering what madness is in store for today. Then I take a seat, wondering once again what I've got myself into. Well, you're dating a Nayan in secret. Need I go down the list of possibilities for that one? A few days later, I'm alone in the shop, working. Sorry, Ms. Johnson, the pumpkin chip muffins are seasonal and it's just... Yes, I understand that it's your daughter. I hold the phone away from my ear and try my best not to roll my eyes. There is honestly no reasoning with some people. Yeah, I've got the distinct impression James is a shit retail employee. I like working at Sweet Dreams, I'm sure. Really, I do. But sometimes I think that our customers are the only ones in the world that don't subscribe to common sense. I understand that you want to file a complaint with the manager, but I am the manager. Power trip. No, there's no one higher than me. Again, power trip. I can offer you a full refund, but... And she hung up on me. Nice. Yeah. I put the phone back into the receiver. She could have at least let me finish my sentence. Yeah, you're a crap salesman, James. I let out a sigh, leaning back in my chair. There's no one in the shop. It's not all that unusual for it to be slow. But even I'm surprised at the lack of, well, anyone. Well, you close at weird times when your girlfriend shows up. That should tell you something. Since you've been working so hard, Mr. Zhang, you should go and take a well-deserved break. Be back in, say, 45 minutes? Hannah would kill me if she knew. But what Hannah doesn't know won't kill me. So, I've worked retail, I've been a retail manager, I've been a department manager, a team lead, a trainer, all of that. And I'm having so many flashbacks right now that I want to reach into the game and, knock James upside the head. I take a muffin out of the display case and hang up my apron, then grab my keys. Checking to make sure the shop is all locked, I flip the close sign and hit the door. There is no bakery in existence that isn't the epitome of suffering between 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. Luckily, the park isn't too far away from work. It's the perfect place to lounge and waste a little time. There's no bakery in existence that isn't the epitome of suffering between 12 and 4 p.m. Okay. So, I'm going to be honest. I have no idea what you're trying to say with that line. Because coming from retail background, if I use that kind of line to describe where I'm working, it means there's a lot of customers. It's busy. I'm trying to do 10 different things, and I've got 5 different customers all screaming at me because they're more important than everyone else. The last thing I would be able to do is not be there. But since James has left, I'm getting the impression that his idea of suffering is I don't have anything to do. Which, I don't know. I guess it just kind of feeds into my growing sense of narcissism about James. Or about James being a narcissist. He wants the world his way, and if it's not, he's upset with it and says the world is wrong. That's my view of him anyway. Unsurprisingly, I found my thoughts wandering back to Kitten Pink. I should have thought this through. How am I supposed to get Noya to like me enough that she'll do anything for me? I'd say you're halfway there already, but, you know. And more importantly enough, that she won't kill me immediately after I inevitably break up with her. Yeah, about that. I run my hand down my face in frustration. James, you're an idiot. Well, at least we agree on something. I hit up Google. Things to do with an alien on a date. Gorblat, get the probe. Surprisingly, there are actual search results. How many of them come with the tag alien abduction actions? But then I guess putting things to do with a bloodthirsty alien warrior princess on a date is a little too specific. Not to mention attention grabbing. And I'm also going to say there's probably several pornos about that. A brief scroll reveals that my search needs to be amended anyway. I go back up to the search bar. Things to do with an alien on a date when you're supremely broke. These results aren't much better. James, you're a moron. Play hide and seek in a cornfield or the woods. More like quickly become characters in a B-grade horror flick. I can think of worse arrangements. How about no? I scroll down. Go real estate shopping together. For a date? Seriously? That's the best I can come up with? Is that a joke? Am I just missing the punchline on it? What romantic heart is bursting with garbage like that? I mean, personally, you know, play a board game, watch a movie, go on a walk, introduce her to D&D, play ping pong. Wasn't quite where I was going, but okay. I closed the browser. More like things to do with an alien if you want her to sneak away to the next galaxy in the middle of your date. I lean back on the bench and look at the sky. It's nice. Kind of peaceful, actually. I shut my eyes to listen to the wind. I could be out here all day, and I'd bet it'd be really nice out here at night. The wind, the moon, the stars. I sit up. We could go stargazing. Hey, he's not a complete moron. I open my phone again, then look up, distracted. Is that someone yelling? So, as I've mentioned, I feel like James has a very self-centered view of the world. Very much a, if things don't work out, the world was wrong because it didn't work the way I wanted it to. So, I feel like he's going to finish the date research first. I look back down in annoyance. Even if they are outside, people should keep in mind that they're not the only ones trying to actually enjoy nature. I ignore the noise and go back to my phone. Stargazing. I wonder if there are any good places nearby. I do a quick search. You're in a park! What's wrong with that? My phone suddenly buzzes with an email from QNN. Security message for Nayan citizens of Q City. Anti-alien protest planned nearby Q City government facilities. So they have anti-alien protests that are scheduled through the government. Okay, I'm going to come back to this. QNN has received information that on protests are planned. QNN has received information that on protests are planned in Central Q. On protests? According to information received by the station, organizers plan to bring upwards of 500 participants. Similar protests in the past have been nonviolent in nature. Well, that's good, because if they were violent, they wouldn't be protests anymore, they'd be riots. The protests are expected to last for a few hours, with the protest at the consulate scheduled between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. As these are work days, the protests do have the potential to disrupt traffic at each site. Even demonstrations that tended to be peaceful can turn confrontational and or escalate into violence. All Nayans should exercise caution if in the vicinity of any large gatherings, protests, or demonstrations. Please be aware of your surroundings if you enter or depart Central Q. And of course, there's an anti-alien rally going on right now. It suddenly dawns on me. What if that yelling I heard earlier, I don't even allow myself time to finish the thought. I pocket my phone and bolt towards the noise. Instead of the madness I expect, a head of brightly colored hair comes into view. Kitten! Thankfully, she's alone, but when she turns toward me, there's a strangely triumphant expression on her face. You're out in the open. Isn't that, dangerous? What if someone recognizes you? As usual, she's completely nonchalantly showing no regard for her own well-being. Well, she's also a trained warrior, so... Usually I get a few stares, but most people ignore me. To them, all Nayans look the same. It's frustrating when she's this carefree about things that could at least be dangerous, but at least she didn't get caught up in any protests. Yeah, that would be absolute chaos, and I'm sure Kitten would add to it. Not that she would enjoy it. Your Honor, I rest my case. Noya lifts her nose at me. Don't spare a worry for me, since there are Nayan resistors aiding your natural identity. They would never dream of my real identity. Okay. That's right. I've always thought it was weird that Nayans actually enlist in the World Protection Program. I mean, who comes to invade a planet and then fights on the side of the Resistance? So, I'm going to go ahead and call it here for this part. My opinion of James really hasn't changed any at this point. I still feel like he's, an emotional manipulator, a passive-aggressive type. The type of person who, if they have a problem, they're not going to tell you have a problem. So, but I am going to say I'm back to being a little unclear as to what's going on with the war. I'm kind of getting the feeling that it's not a war. It's... I don't know, like police action turned sideways that people are protesting now? I guess, so the Nayans have a consulate, but they're at war with us. But we're not really at war because we're having scheduled protests regarding them. But we're at war with them because Kitten Pink, has run into several soldiers multiple times and has fun evading them. But we're not at war with them because they're getting ready to leave. So, are we at war? Is it a Cold War? Is it a planned stalemate? Is it we're on the verge of war? I'm kind of unclear on that. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this part. Be sure to join me for the next part.